Okay, so now we're gonna get to the 2012-2013 season, and so this was like the first time where I would have paid attention to Kobe's career, and I remember all the hype about like getting Kobe two players that could play with him and how great he's gonna be, and I remember him being good, but then the two people being ass, and that's about all I remember from this season.
Yo, and who are you hearing this hype from?
The media everywhere.
Oh, not me. Oh, I thought it was me. I was your friend at the time. I was your friend, and I was talking so much Kobe shit. I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, I would think that it would be me.
No, you were up there. You and Danny were up there. You guys would never stop talking about Kobe. Just watch what he's gonna do. Just watch it.
Dude, I was probably like, at this point, I was probably thinking.
Nah, you weren't a Kobe fan yet.
No, but I was definitely thinking.
I just want to say before we continue this, I just want to let the audience and fans know, or if we have fans, maybe the audience, that this is the second greatest 17th year ever. Okay. Maybe the first, if in my eyes, but keep on.
That is some specific ass shit right there.
It was the first up until a few days ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. But I would think it would be like a couple months ago. 25 and 10.
But
8 weeks. All right, my bad.
This was the squad.
Yeah.
Lakers traded Andrew Bynum, who at the time was considered the second best center in the league.
Yeah.
You'll probably never hear his name again.
Yep, and a lot of kids don't even know who he is.
Yeah, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But
fuck him.
They traded his ass to get, by all accounts, the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, and by all accounts, the best center in basketball, Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Up until that point, what was he doing?
Well, this is not the same. This is not that Dwight Howard.
No. I just want to give. I'm trying to give a full perspective here.
Yeah, because he had just finished, and just while you're looking it up, he had just finished coming off of a big back surgery, and that was like a big question mark. And I think that. Did he come the year after his back surgery, or during the back surgery? Because I know he had his back injury issues during that season. I remember that.
So he had his back injury. He injured his back at the end of the year before.
Yeah.
And I just want to give you the 5-year stats for Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Basically, 20 and 14 every night with 2.5 blocks.
Yeah.
Shooting almost 60%. Just dominating the paint. He was a wrecking ball. And an athletic freak. Also, the biggest fucking shoulders I've ever seen in my life. Like, just cannonballs for shoulders. It's incredible. But they pulled out all the stops, and then they got the 2-time MVP of the league in a similar move to what they did with Gary Payton and Karl Malone back in the day.
Yeah.
To get Steve Nash and to what and they really thought they were going to get the last year of his prime or the last year.
Okay. Well, in reality, what they really thought they were going to get, and then they had to settle for Nash, was Chris Paul. They were supposed to get Chris Paul in a trade. It was that year, right? Because they were supposed to get. I'm pretty sure they were going to give up Powell for Chris Paul. I want to say.
Yes, they were going to give up
because it got stopped by.
They were. I remember
that. Bitch-ass Stern.
They were going to give up Powell for Chris Paul.
Pissed me off.
No, this is in 2011, though.
Yo, we were going to give up everything. Time out. I'm happy we didn't do this. We were going to give up Odom and freaking Powell.
Yeah.
We would have had no bench.
Yeah. But this was 2 years before. But they did. I do remember this because then Chris Paul went to the Clippers and then the blockbuster trade happened.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I do remember that, though.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure they probably felt like during that year, because that was the first year of Miami, and
exactly.
That's around, and
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they were probably looking at it like we're not going to have enough firepower to stop that Miami team.
Correct. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, because I remember I felt that way. I was like, yo, I feel like if it was just one of these little pricks, Kobe would be dogging them.
Well, the decision just horrified everyone.
Yeah, because of this 3 people thing. I'm like, now I felt like Kobe was like outnumbered, and I was getting pissed.
And so they tried to get guys, but the problem was the chemistry was one of the worst of all time.
Yeah. And I don't know if adding Chris Paul there would have even helped because what they were trying to do, they were trying to. I'm almost 100% sure because I remember I was paying attention a lot at this time at that time at least, where they were trying to get Chris Paul, and then immediately after I think they wanted to trade Bynum. They wanted to do the Bynum for Dwight trade. Because Dwight didn't. I don't think Dwight wanted to stay. He was having contract issues before that.
It was the year before his back problems.
Yeah,
like the Van Gundy stuff had happened.
Yeah,
he got Van Gundy fired. I remember that.
Yeah, and they were trying to trade off Dwight Bynum for him, and then they were trying to get Powell, send off Powell for CP3.
Yeah,
and that probably wouldn't have worked because Kobe would have lost the luxury of having like that. Well, obviously the chemistry, but also like, was Chris Paul gonna buy in like 100%? Like, I feel like Chris Paul could have figured it out.
So Chris Paul has talked about it since, and he said that Kobe and him like talked on the phone like a shit ton.
Yeah,
and they were gonna try and put it together. But I think what ended up happening. Really,
we got screwed.
I don't know if this is hyperbole to say, but this was Kobe's last great season, and I don't know if it had to be his last great season.
It doesn't make, because he wouldn't have had to do all of that, because it was the toll that it took on that whole season, and plus just that last week or two he played.
Here's the combination, because I'll never forget this. This was one of my first. This was not for nothing. This was one of my first big like, I'm putting the pieces together basketball things when I was like in college, right? 3 things.
Yeah.
Number 1, Mike D'Antoni is your head coach. That is the number 1 reason Kobe Bryant ended up getting hurt at the end of this year. He was playing a ludicrous amount of minutes at an unreasonable
Do you think
age.
that's D'Antoni's fault though?
Yes, I do.
I think it was Kobe's fault.
Maybe so, but if Phil Jackson was there, Phil Jackson saying, "Kobe, take it easy. You're playing 35 minutes a game. Relax." Like,
yeah, but it's not even that. It's the last 7 minutes. It's the last. I want to say, the last 7 games of that season. I'm pretty sure he played almost the entire game.
Well, this is what I'm about to show you. He played 29 games over 40 minutes in total this season. At age 35, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to those minutes in a second. To your point.
Yeah.
Exactly correct, my friend.
Yeah, and the only reason that last game he didn't get the 48 was because he got injured.
That was on him because he went to the press.
Yeah, it was 100% on him.
He went to the press because they were losing like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "We will make the playoffs."
Yeah.
Is the Raptors game in this stretch?
Yeah.
Is that before this?
It should be. I'm pretty sure that was
I think it's a little bit before this.
It must be. Because that's when he does the.
Yeah, I see it. It's just before. Thank you. Yeah. I have it up on video because we're going to get it.
Yeah.
But Kobe, minutes per game, 45.5 in the regular season. That just doesn't happen in 2020.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't happen to literally any other guy. Like, you're never going to see LeBron doing that in the regular season unless like they and this is the thing. They didn't need to be in this position.
Yeah.
And this is why I blame a little bit of that on Mike D'Antoni. I feel like a coach who had more authority with Kobe would have been able to tell him, "Listen, maybe we don't play 48. Maybe we play 40."
Yeah, but it's not his. I can't. I understand what I agree with you, but he came because they didn't. When did Phil leave? Phil left in 2011, 2012?
After the championship. Right after the championship.
No, he lost. He played in 2011. He definitely was there for 2011.
Then that was it.
Yeah. Okay. So 2012 did they? Are you sure? Can we check that real quick? Okay, Mike. Oh, Mike Brown.
Yeah, because then they had Mike Brown, and then they had D'Antoni, and then they did the Princeton offense.
Yeah, and then okay, yeah, I remember that. Okay, so Kobe was not gonna like Kobe already had that because I remember a lot of people would talk about it too. Like he didn't listen. He was very difficult, and he also didn't feel like Mike D'Antoni was a great coach, anyways. Like I'm pretty sure he was just like, I'm gonna do this because clearly we've been sucking this whole year.
Yeah, well, Nash obviously vouched for him. You remember that?
For D'Antoni,
they got Nash,
yeah,
and then they got D'Antoni like shortly afterwards.
Yeah, and then also Nash was injured pretty much that whole season.
Yep.
Dwight was playing like very limited that whole season. I remember
playing injured the whole
year. And then it was just like, and then also Kobe and Dwight didn't mesh well because
at all.
It was, and it's just weird to me that I wouldn't have noticed that or I wouldn't have thought that at the time. I think I was just such a Laker fan that I didn't like. Cause me now, I would have said, "There's no way. Why would we get Dwight? That it wouldn't make sense with Kobe." But
yeah, but I think we learned that. You know something? I think we learned that in the moment, like you and I.
Well, everybody. I think everybody thought Dwight was like a goof off and like he didn't care about the game and like that was always his critique.
But think about all the ways we look at basketball now that we weren't looking at it then. Like
what?
Like I think we look into a lot more team chemistry stuff that. I think this is a big, like, for us. I'm not saying for everybody. I'm saying for, like, people in our age group, like you and me. Like, we grew up with, and this was, like, our first, for me, but watching basketball, this was my first, like, team that I really thought was going to dominate. And then, like, it was my first on-paper team that failed. Yeah. It was my first wins on paper team that really didn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen that before.
Because, like, all of the stuff that we talk about now is through our experiences of watching it. So.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. So that's why, and also I remember at the time, even being in the dorms with you and being in the dorms with everybody, it was always, Dwight is a fucking piece of shit. It was never held on Kobe because Kobe was doing this to close the season out. Yeah. And it was just like, Dwight's not coming through. Dwight's the problem. That's pretty much, it was all blamed on his feet.
I remember this one crazy whole thing that blew up during the All-Star break where Dwight jokingly did a half-court shot and it went in and people were like, see this? He always jokes around when it's not important.
That was the All-Star game.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
That was the All-Star game. I remember that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
People were on him hard that season.
We still kind of. Well, because you want me to chip this year, Dwight, we okay with it. But at that point, yeah, it was fuck Dwight for a while.
Oh yeah, for a long time. Any Laker fan, if you mentioned Dwight Howard, it was like Voldemort.
Yeah,
it was crazy. But this game and the Nets game from this year are probably
okay. So let me get my hot takes in. Let's watch some of Kobe drives. You telling me Kobe isn't doesn't look physically faster than LeBron James right now? Like in this, because we only got two guys that we could talk about for about this 17th season, and a lot of people say this was the greatest 17th season we ever watched, and this is probably the second, or in my eyes, the first best 17th season you ever seen. And look at he's splitting through defenders, laying it up on boys, hit game-winning shots, multiple threes. He hit 3 straight threes to get it to overtime against this Toronto team, right? And then afterwards, to end the game, he dunks on them, right? And he's in his 17th season. Did we see LeBron do that, though?
Listen, just for the benefit of the people watching at home, there's a lot of magic and mirrors to make the video actually appear like it's not fucking, shitty on your screen. And I can barely see the fucking video in front of me. And for you to try and ask me whether I can
look at this.
When I'm seeing choppy fucking screen going like this.
It looks perfect.
I have no fucking idea.
You saw Kobe, he just dunked on him and he was like,
okay, here's my
really?
thing though.
You try to guard me?
Here's my only thing that I would say your argument fails a little bit. We do see LeBron do these things, But you know where we see him do these things in his 17th season? In the playoffs. Yeah, so that's where Kobe loses out in that argument.
Yeah, I know that's the only argument. That's the only reason I say that's the only reason that I say that it's the best. You have to, because it's.
But that's not Kobe's fault.
No, it's not his fault. But I mean, it's just the fact of it.
No, yeah, but that's where we're here.
That was absurd. That was an absurd pass.
Yeah, that's where we're here to be able to give this context, because we watched this. So it's not like if we're talking to a 13-year-old who just watched LeBron do this and be like, "Oh my God, it was the craziest thing."
The same thing that we say about the same thing we said about LeBron at the beginning of the playoff run, where we were like, he's obviously lost a little bit. We're worried about it here. Like,
that was never even a thought.
No, of course not for you, asshole. But for everybody else who wasn't like slobbering and letting Kobe's dick hit him in the back of their throat. Fucking, it was pretty obvious that he had slowed down to a degree, but his skill was still all there, and he was as tough as nails. So you just thought, and it was completely unquestioned out of anybody in the league. If you had to pick somebody who loved the game the most, it was probably Kobe. Like, you could just tell. He was that guy in the league. He was like the conscience of the league for a really long time. Once LeBron kind of took over and became people's like best player, Kobe at this point of his career, I considered him like the conscience, like the old faithful rock. Like,
well, all right, so
it was him and Duncan, but for me, because of the way Duncan didn't get on the screen too much.
I like your logic and stuff, but who has done this? Now we're gonna watch some of the greatest stuff, and if people like are just watching this on YouTube and just looking at 2013 and not really realizing what's happened, this is a 35-year-old. He's doing it in his 17th season of the league, and his team sucks ass, and he has to get W's in order to get to the playoffs.
Yes,
and he literally is willing his team to victory, like
scraping
just on his own.
to that 8th seed.
I want to look at the score of the game. Let's look at the score of the game.
In the West, and that's the main thing. Like, in the West, this is
interconference. It's not even that important to that. But
no, I'm saying
they're in the 8th seed in the West at this point.
In the West,
they're the 8th seed at this point, or climbing to it. They were under the 8th seed pretty much the whole season.
I'm pretty sure they were under at this point too.
Yeah. And right before this game, right, Kobe came out and he said, "We will make the playoffs, 100%." And it was one of the biggest money where your mouth is moments that I remember growing up.
This is why nobody could tell me shit. This is this guy. Man, I miss this so much, man. I'm about to cry. I'm literally about to cry watching it, because a little push off, quick 3 right on the corner. Seen this like 100 times. Money. And then he's gonna go around, do the little fake, and then whap it, go to overtime, and then voila. Look,
and the crowd is just going absolutely out of their fucking mind.
Boom! That was literally the greatest shit ever. Look, double team, don't matter. It doesn't matter. A horrible shot in everybody else's mind besides his.
Yeah, Toronto wasn't like an all-world beater at this time. They were like pretty shitty, and Rudy Gay was very overrated at the time. And this is the team. This is what Kobe had to do to them, because his team that was supposed to be on paper light years ahead of the Raptors could not get it done.
Yeah, and
it was amazing watching Kobe do this and being like, he has to do this. And he shouldn't have to. Like, I always felt that way throughout this whole year. Like, he shouldn't be in this spot.
Yeah.
They literally got people so that he didn't have to do all this shit. And it didn't matter. And it ruined his career. Like, because when we get to his last game here against the Warriors.
Because he was straight up attacking the basket too. Like, it's not like it was off, like you'd expect it to be more jump shots and shit. And it's like, he was attacking. It was like, you literally did not have to. It was unnecessary. In reality, I promise you, like, of course, if he knew, like, if he knew what it was gonna do to him, I'm sure he would have just let the season go and just been like, "Fuck it, uh, we live to fight another day." But I mean, the Lakers were just gonna go to shit anyways.
And also in the moment, as you were saying, I'm sure Kobe felt like this is my last shot.
Yeah,
Especially
sure.
seeing Miami and LeBron coming down the pike.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but like, just imagine he was playing 46 minutes,
dropping Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Bang.
He was playing 46 minutes those last 8 games, right?
Yeah.
Averaging, and then you had to go into the playoffs, and he was gonna have to do the same thing in order to even survive. And it was against that Spurs team that
was sick.
Yeah, that Spurs team went to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and we got swept without Kobe in that series.
Yep.
But I was saying it even then, I was like, Kobe would probably give us a game, maybe 2 max, but we would have lost no matter what. So it's like,
But that was the thing. I remember once Kobe got hurt, everyone was just like, "Well, Lakers are definitely getting swept by Spurs."
If Kobe, if somehow that Lakers team went and beat that Spurs team, yo, he would have been the greatest player ever. I don't care. No one would have been able to tell me shit. No, like
he was injured. What are you talking about?
Huh? No, I'm saying if he didn't get injured and went to the playoffs and beat that Spurs team, that would have been the most impressive shit I've ever seen. With this fucking failure, this laundry room failure. All right. I've watched this so many times too, and I don't know why. It's like it's like heart wrenching. It's like, why do you do this to yourself all the time? But I just do it, and
because he was killing it.
Yeah, because I see it, and I'm like, look at how amazing this guy, like,
oh my God.
3 guys. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember, because I thought he was, like, going to be out with that.
Yeah.
And shortly after this, it's in the 4th quarter, I think, that he ruptured his Achilles, but. And you know what he was probably doing, though, me knowing Kobe? No, not me knowing Kobe, but me knowing, like, what, athletes?
Me knowing my friend, the mama.
Yeah. He was probably tired. Taking an injury break because he came back up and just played normal after this. I watched the game. There was no way he was really injured. He's not one to do that, though.
Let the ref get some of that.
Yeah, he's not one to do that, though. But I could understand. You just played multiple games with 47 minutes at least. 45.
And that's it.
No, that's not. No.
That's not it? He didn't pop it there?
He pops it. I'm driving.
Wait, time out. Are we sure it's not popped at this point?
Yeah, 100% sure.
What is it then? Because this doesn't look right.
Maybe he well, no, because he would have been holding his Achilles. If you pop, there's no one ever who's popped their Achilles has not went and held it afterwards. Look at every Achilles injury, you always see the whole, like, they look back, like if someone kicked them, because Kobe did it here too. He looks back and he starts holding it immediately because it hurts. It hurts like a shit ton. Because
he's grimacing.
Yeah, but watch. You'll see. You know exactly when it happens.
I know the play, but I'm just looking at it in hindsight.
Yeah. Maybe he like tweaked it. Maybe but he never even touched it. Like, and he never even looked like
he's moving. That it's something in that bottom part of his leg.
Yeah.
Like, and it's lower than his knee. You know what I mean? Like, it's not his knee.
Yeah.
Definitely not his knee.
Klay Thompson was just like, I don't know what the fuck to do right now. And I'm actually a good defender.
Yeah. I go to be a good defender after this.
Yeah. No, he was a good defender at this point. At this point, he was all defense and not really. He wasn't.
That's not his rookie year. This is not his rookie year.
He was. I always looked at Klay Thompson as a good defender, and I never thought he was a good offensive player until he just started wilding from the 3-point line out of nowhere. Or maybe he was doing it and I never paid attention.
Definitely.
I used to call him and Jimmy the best 2-way players probably like around this time.
No, the Warriors weren't like that at that point. Like, they hadn't even faced the Spurs yet.
This is 2013.
Yeah,
this is 2013. They faced the Spurs in 2013
in the second round. right?
Yeah, but maybe not at this point. Maybe it's like a year later then.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I know at some point I was considering Clay as like a top two, like two-way player. It was between him and Jimmy Butler to me. And then Kawhi came out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying. But
yeah.
Oh,
it's about to happen now.
Yeah. The calm before the storm.
Yeah. Should have just kept shooting them threes, Kobe. Is this play? Whoop. Yep.
And it's like a wheel that just fell out.
Mm-hmm. Everyone knew it. I didn't know it. I didn't even know about that injury really until it happened to him. That was the first time I ever even heard of the Achilles injury.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people in our age group is like that.
Yeah, and all I heard about was Dominique Wilkins. Right? It was Dominique Wilkins that had. And look, he's walking. Yo, this is pure warrior shit, bro. Like he literally, it was just like his leg gave out of him. Like it looked like he was gonna be able to just make that move, and then right here, this step, boop, and it didn't even let him like fully land. Boop, and he just dropped immediately, and they called a foul. That's how you know they loved Kobe. They called a foul.
Was no foul. He just fell. His shoes look mad weird after that.
Yeah, because I don't see why. It's probably swelling on the bottom.
Yeah.
But what happens is it wraps up, like your Achilles rolls up.
Mm-hmm. Sounds painful as a motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't know how he's walking. Most people can't walk. Like they usually have to put like a boot on or something.
Well, he's an insane person.
Well, it's because they told he couldn't. If he would have left, he wouldn't have been able to come back in the game, and he was thinking that he could come back in the game.
Yeah,
like that was his thought process. He was like, "I'm gonna try to come back and play," and then like they told him, "Bro, you can't fucking do this."
And he's still walking off the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was crazy. And I remember that was one thing that in the moment people understood how insane that was.
Yeah.
Once they realized that his Achilles was ruptured,
mm-hmm.
like, oh, and look who it is. Look who it is walking off the court. The greatest legend in the history of the Laker organization, the GOAT, Bob Sacre. I just want that to be known. All right, sorry.
That was so loud for someone who did so little.
I just want you to know that it is completely necessary.
No, did he win 2 championships with Kobe? Where was he with Kobe at that point or no?
I don't think so.
Oh damn.
But Lakers won that game and sealed their playoff berth with that win. But Kobe's career was never the same after that point.
Yeah. My life of watching basketball like completely changed after that point.
How long do you think he could have went if he had not gotten injured like that? How long
at that level?
Yeah.
Probably like 2 more years. I'd say like at that level, he could give you a solid 25.
Because I definitely think an injury takes him out. Like he doesn't.
Either way.
Yeah, he doesn't leave on his own terms.
Oh yeah. You'd have to drag him off the court.
Yeah.
Well, but he always said. And
I know
obviously, he always said that he would never play if he wasn't able to dominate on the court. And it showed. He tried, and the year that he knew, like when he finally was like the healthiest that he could possibly be, he was like, I have to. My body doesn't let me anymore. And it was
fucking A. But
true warrior shit.